I have a degree in chemical engineering. Spent 4 years of my life getting this degree, by the way. And I can't get a job anywhere.
I have 2 bachelor's degrees, but I'm currently unemployed and I'm trying to find a job and I'm not able to find a job.
Degrees are not getting you jobs anymore. Unless you're in healthcare, law, or specific sections of engineering, degrees are not going to land you a job 9 times out of 10.
I just graduated college and I am completely unemployed with no future job prospect.
It is the most difficult time in history to get a job as a college graduate, and yet kids are still piling into the college admissions system.
Something isn't adding up anymore. We're seeing college graduates sending out hundreds of applications, struggling to get interviews, and wondering why the degree they worked so hard to get isn't opening the doors they thought it would.
Hey, if anyone out there is getting denied from jobs, just to feel a little bit better, I just got denied from a serving job in a restaurant with a bachelor's degree.
Many people are working jobs that don't even require a college education, while others have simply stopped hearing back altogether. At the same time, employers say they can't find qualified candidates, graduates say they can't find opportunities, but universities continue to encourage enrollment and tuition keeps rising. So what's actually happening? Is the economy changing? Are employers expecting too much? Or are we preparing students for a job market that no longer exists? Let's talk about it.
This job market is so cooked. I have a degree in chemical engineering. Spent 4 years of my life getting this degree, by the way. And I can't get a job anywhere. I've applied to so many different engineering firms. I just cannot get a job. So then I started applying to places like Walmart and McDonald's, and I've been rejected from all of them. Every single one. I spent 4 years of my life for this degree, and I can't even get a job that pays $14 an hour. And it's not like I don't have experience in the field, because I worked at Walmart in high school. I worked at McDonald's in high school. I worked at both these places, and I can't find a job still. And I've been trying to tell my parents about it, did you walk in and try to apply inside? I was like, what do you think I've been doing?
I have 2 bachelor's degrees, but I'm currently unemployed and I'm trying to find a job and I'm not able to find a job. I feel like if you are not currently looking for a job right now in today's job market, then you will not understand how actually hard it is to find a decent paying job. Even if you have all the credentials, I have 2 degrees, I have experience, I have a good resume, I have it all, and I'm still not able to find anything. And people ask me, what do you want to do? What's your, dream career? What's your dream job? And honestly, I don't have one. I don't dream of working. I don't want to work. There's no career or job that I can think of that I would be like, yeah, I would love to do that every single day and spend more of my time there than in my home that I pay a crap ton of money for. No, I don't dream of working. My dream life, my dream day is to wake up by the beach or some body of water and drink my coffee and read my book, then take an afternoon nap and then read my book inside and then have a nice dinner. That's my dream daily life. But I know in order to get there, I need some kind of money.
Nobody wants to work.
And Monopoly money won't work. So that means I have to get a good paying job, but those are not available.
It is the most difficult time in history to get a job as a college graduate, and yet kids are still piling into the college admissions system. And I'm here to talk about it. So many people are just going to college expecting that they're going to be handed a perfect job situation, and that is just not the case anymore. College is a completely different game than it was 10, 20 years ago. A 40% decline in job openings since 2023. That is insane. Everyone is just blaming AI. Yes, AI can take a lot of different jobs like coding, software development, all that sort of stuff. But there is such a problem with the job market these days, and people are still doing the same thing that they would have done 10 years ago. It's time to get out of the mindset where I'm just going to go to college just because, it's the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. It's shooting yourself in the foot. Reconsider it.
College should never be something you do just because everybody told you that it was the next step. You have to ask yourself what you're actually going for, what the career opportunities look like, and whether that degree is worth the time and money you're putting into it. I have a sign in my office here that says time is money. It's literally right here. And I look at it almost every day. Money can be lost and earned again, but you can't get your time back. And when you're young, time feels limited. but it really isn't. That's why these decisions matter. I don't think AI is the entire problem. AI is an easy thing to blame, but the job market was already becoming more competitive, degrees were already getting more expensive, and companies were already expecting people to have experience before giving them an opportunity. So before committing 4 years of your life, make sure the path actually leads somewhere.
I have a genuine question for other people who are like currently entering the job market, either right out of high school or maybe you did what I did and went to college. And actually that's an important distinction here because I don't know if college was worth it anymore. Like I thought I had to go to school and get a 4-year degree to get a job. And here I am out of college and I can't get a job. Not only can I not get like a high paying job, like whatever, I understand they want work experience, whatever. I can't get a starter job. I can't get a job at Walmart, Chipotle, McDonald's, CVS, and people talk about being over qualified. What am I qualified for then? Because I'm underqualified for the jobs that I really want at some point in the future that have a 401k and but I'm overqualified for the starter jobs? What the am I supposed to do to make money in the meantime then?
I just graduated college and I am completely unemployed with no future job prospects. And I feel like this is such a fucking weird time in my life because no one ever prepared me for it. For so long, like literally when I was in elementary school, people would just be like, oh my God, just get your degree. Get your degree and you're good. Get your degree and you're good, right? So I did that and I'm in debt and I got my degree. And now like I'm applying to every fucking job like imaginable and it's not fucking enough. It's not enough. Every single job wants like 5 years of experience and a master's degree. And it's like, it's gotten to the point where having your undergrad degree literally feels like you just graduated high school. Like no one wants to hire you. Everyone's like, okay, you need a lot of experience. You need this. And the economy is so bad right now that these like entry-level positions are being filled by people with master's degrees. And so it's like me and like literally most of my friends were completely unemployed. And like, thankfully we have places to go to, right? So we can go back home, right? A lot of people do not have that. A lot of people can't comfortably just go back and live with their parents. And so like, I'm grateful, but it's also extremely frustrating because it's like this lie that we're literally fed since we're kids that like, you just got to get your degree and everything is good is not even real. Like in my head, I'm like, okay, what if I don't want to get a graduate degree? Should I have literally just only finished high school and then just like started looking into like sales or like entrepreneurial positions? Like, why did I even get my undergrad degree if it's not going to benefit me? Why go in so much debt to literally just move home after getting my degree and do nothing?
Degrees are not getting you jobs anymore. Unless you're in healthcare, law, or specific sections of engineering, degrees are not going to land you a job 9 times out of 10. There are so many people with degrees, especially in this job market, that cannot find a job for the life of them. Companies and interviewers are valuing real work experience over people with degrees. Now, Tosi, how do I get experience? How do I learn the skill if I don't get a degree in it first? There are plenty of careers you can get into with a certification or a license that takes less than a year to obtain. Or you can volunteer or work for free and learn the experience like that, and then use that experience in job interviews, demonstrate your skill in order to land roles.
I think this is where a lot of people are starting to wake up. A degree by itself doesn't carry the same weight that it used to. That's not to say degrees are worthless, because there are plenty of careers where you absolutely need one, law, medicine, etc. But if all you leave college with is a diploma, you're probably going to have a much harder time than someone who graduated with real experience. If I were in college today, I'd be focused just as much on internships, volunteering, networking, and building a portfolio as I would be on passing my classes. Employers want to know that you've actually applied what you learned. They want to see that you worked with people, solved real problems, and taken initiative outside the classroom. That's why I tell people to think about beyond the graduation day. Your degree gets you into the conversation, but your experience often gets you the job that you want. The people who spend 4 years making connections, finding mentors, and getting hands-on experience are usually in a much better position than the person who only focus on earning good grades. Alrighty, so here we have an article on Investopedia, college majors with the highest unemployment rates in a tough job market. and this was published July 14th, 2026. So here we're just going to read the key takeaways because I don't want to bore you guys to death. If your college major has a high unemployment rate, it may be more difficult to land a full-time job in your field after graduation. Be flexible, stay open to all job opportunities, and don't get tied to a dream job. If you don't have any full-time experience to promote on your resume, highlight your volunteer work, internships, and part-time employment. So yeah, nothing new. Things that I covered already in this video. You got to show your volunteer work, your internships, any type of part-time employment experience that may be helpful for that dream job. The job market has been especially challenging for recent graduates facing higher unemployment rates than other workers. In addition, some majors, like computer science, which have historically led to high-paying careers, have had some of the highest unemployment rates. According to the most recent data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, these were the majors with the highest unemployment rates. So first we have anthropology at a 7.9 unemployment rate percentage. Next is computer engineering at 7.8%, fine arts at 7.7%, performing arts at 7.0, computer science at 7.0, and architecture at 6.8%. On the flip side, the college majors with the lowest unemployment rates were special education and miscellaneous education, both at 0.7%. So why are some majors floundering while others are thriving? According to experts, computer engineering majors may face relative high unemployment rates as the sector scaled back on spending starting in 2022. I'm not sure if this has to do anything with AI because I know there's a lot of controversy about AI taking a lot of tech jobs, but if so, that just sucks, you know. For liberal arts majors, higher unemployment rates could result from a lack of specialized skills and limited labor market demand. Majors with more defined skill sets may fare better as their skills could align more directly with employer needs. And that makes sense. I mean, the barrier to entry for fine arts isn't that expensive or isn't that difficult. I mean, people that are in tech or are in law or in medicine, there's a higher barrier to entry, or it's much harder to obtain that skill set. So because it's much harder to obtain that skill set, there's going to be less people actually qualified for certain positions in those industries or sectors. How college grads can land jobs after graduation. If your college major has a high unemployment rate, you may need to be more flexible with your job search. For grads with majors tied to higher unemployment rates like anthropology, fine arts, or graphic design, the key is to stay flexible and focus on building transferable skills. So what's the bottom line? Depending on your college major, you may face a difficult or welcoming job market. If you have a college major with a high unemployment rate, you may need to be more flexible with your job pursuits. Just make sure to highlight your past experience and don't get hung up on finding the perfect job. I mean, nothing surprising. A lot of these degrees that are in high demand are facing a lot of difficulty finding jobs because a lot of people want the same dream job or position. It's looking like more people are going towards those industries because of the economy, because the lower industries or the degrees that aren't as demanding aren't paying enough. So I'm very curious what's going to happen in the next 5 years. You know, I think a lot of people are kind of just waiting to see if this is all going to get fixed. And when I mean fixed, the economy going back to a stable condition where people can make a living.
So day after day, I log on to this app and I see so many college students struggling to get a job. And let me tell you why I think that is. I didn't take the traditional route and finish college before I got into the workforce. I actually got my first full-time job and promotion while in the middle of college. When I got out of high school, I went to a community college and I started to work at doing work study, did some call center work. But it wasn't until I got to a school where I was working in education where I got to meet people with degrees and not just a degree, multiple degrees. And they gave me insights on their career paths. My principal at the time, she told me something that stuck with me to this day. She said the reason why a lot of people are not getting jobs and they just got out of college is because employers are prioritizing skill sets and experience over degrees. The reason being is because a degree communicates that you can withstand something, that you can endure something, that you can go through a program and finish. Great. But that does not communicate or guarantee that you have the necessary skills, the work ethic, the organization skills, just the experience overall. And employers want that skill versus experience, because one thing that all these people who I met in that career path who have multiple degrees said that nothing in school prepares you for the job that you're going to work after you finish school. I've seen so many people who got the degree, but who do not have the work ethic, who don't have the skill set. So they get that job and then they fumble it because they just weren't taught how to handle a proper job. I'm so thankful. At the same time, I wish I did finish because I had like one semester left and my funding got cut, which I just got back in school. So I'm really, really happy. I start in the fall.
Congratulations.
To have the experience and the skill sets and the degree, that's a double whammy.
Yeah.
Why I always like encourage, like if you're in college, do internships, do work studies so you can have some type of skill set. So when you get out of school, you're just not like, I have a degree, hire me, because that means nothing. Unfortunately, this is wrong. I just want to let you know that this is not okay, because this is the path that millennials and Gen Z were told to take, and that this would secure them a financially stable future. They'd be okay. Their kids will be okay. And that's not what's happening. And that's why there's so much frustration. Let me just emphasize that this is not okay.
I think this is one of the biggest disconnects that Gen Z and millennials are facing. Today, employers want to see what you've actually done. Did you complete an internship? Did you volunteer? Did you build projects outside of class? Did you actually network with people in your industry? Those experiences show initiative, and they prove that you can contribute from day one. So if you're in college right now, don't wait until your senior year to start thinking about your resume. Start building today. And most importantly, look for internships even if they're unpaid at first, because the experience that you gain or could gain will end up being far more valuable than another line of your transcript. A degree has value in many careers, but by itself, it's often no longer enough. Employers are increasingly looking for people who can demonstrate skills, not just credentials. So real quick, this is another website I found. I just thought this was interesting. This is signs of an uncertain job market. Employers are projecting a 1.6% increase in hiring for the class of 2026 when compared to the class of 2025. This is comparable to the tight labor market employers reported at the end of the 2024-25 recruiting year. And if we look at this diagram, this is the projected change in number of entry-level college hires. And I want you guys to pay attention of how the economy was looking like from 2021 to around 2023. As you can see, there was a higher percentage of job hires. I feel like between that time, that was post-pandemic, and I feel like everyone was trying to get back into the rhythm of work, of society. So it only makes sense that the businesses that were shut down were trying to get back into the rhythm, so they were hiring more. But then as we look from 2022 all the way up to 2024, there was a huge decrease. I'm not sure why, but it even goes into the negatives. So we have negative 1.9% from 2023 to 2024. And then 2024 to 2025, we see a massive gap or a rebalance from negative 5.8% all the way up to 7.3. And then here, as we just talked about, from 2025 to 2026, it has a 1.6 jump from 0.6% in 2025 to 1.6% in 2026. Really more of a 1% change, but this is still concerning because if you're not looking at this diagram as reference, this might sound like a good thing, like, hey, we're jumping from 2025 with a 1.6 increase. But if we look at the previous years from 2021 to 2023, we can obviously see that there was a better job economy for a lot of people looking for jobs. So I'm not sure if we're ever going to get back to that 30% range. But let me know what you guys think. I'm very curious on your thoughts about all this.
Hey, if anyone out there is getting denied from jobs, just to feel a little bit better, I just got denied from a serving job in a restaurant with a bachelor's degree, and I've actually worked in 2 restaurants for no experience. Trying to move for my career, and placement jobs will not hire me.
So is anyone gonna do anything about the amount of educated young adults that we have that are graduating and there's no jobs waiting for them? You guys are demotivating the youth to study. You're gonna have a generation of idiots.
For anyone who own a bachelor degree or master degree, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? Seriously, I'm not even like, what the fuck are we doing? Remember, we used to compare university and we used to look at the ranking. We used to care about the ranking so much, the QS ranking and everything. It doesn't matter. Unless you're really going to MIT, Stanford, or Harvard, it doesn't really matter.
One of the saddest things about new grads having a high unemployment rate and not getting roles is that they're watching their long-term plans kind of disintegrate. They saw how their parents grew up. Their parents had all this opportunity and everything. And they want to do the kids. They want to buy a house. They want to put those kids through college. They want to have a nice car. They want to have a nice house, be able to upgrade the house and all that stuff. And all those dreams are disappearing with not being able to find a job. And it's tragic because you see these people who are just applying to all these roles, and if you ask them and they answer truthfully, like, what do you want to do? They don't give a shit. They just want something that gives them health insurance, has a structure, like some structured career path,
That's real.
room to grow, be in a nice city. Like, you know what I mean? It's really bare bones stuff, and it's tragic. It's tragic to watch this.
It's easy to look at the younger generations and say they're not working hard enough or they don't want it badly enough. But imagine doing everything people told you to do, only to step into one of the toughest job markets in years. When people talk about dreams disappearing, I don't think it's because this generation lacks ambition. I think it's because the path to achieving those dreams has become a lot less predictable. Buying a home, paying off student loans, starting a family, or even landing that first career job feels farther away than it did for many people before us. That doesn't mean you give up. If anything, it means you have to be more adaptable than ever. Don't let one setback convince you that your future is over. The dream may look different than you imagine, but that doesn't mean it's gone.
The job market is so horrible right now, okay? I just graduated from USC, okay? And I had a 3.8 GPA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 3.8 GPA, and I was a finance major, right? So you're thinking, obviously, USC Marshall, what they're known for, they're a business school, right? So I should be good. Guess what? No. I have applied to well over 300 jobs thus far. Have I gotten a single offer? No, I have not gotten a single offer. I've had like one lowball offer, like horrible. It was like, for what, I want to say like $50,000 in California. $50,000 in California. That's not enough for me. Okay, like I literally cannot get a job in this job market. Okay, $50,000, I'm gonna be starving. So I really need a job right now. Like, sure, you might be thinking, well, $50,000, like, that's better than nothing, right? But guys, I am way over $400,000 in debt because I go to USC out of state. I spent $400,000, and now I can't get a single job offer. Like, I'm literally drowning in debt right now.
I graduated from college May of 2024, so a little over 2 years ago, with a bachelor's degree in data science. And despite having glowing reviews from my internship that I did post-grad from the director of the division that I worked in, I still do not have a full-time job in data science or anything in that general ballpark. And I'm about to go walk in to do a job interview for retail.
This is maybe a hot take, but I think one of the main reasons that people have problems and trouble just generally getting a job is because of recruiters. Now, recruiters, I want you to keep scrolling because this is about to get, a little bit personal here, but I think 95% of recruiters have no idea basically anything about the job that they're recruiting for. And you have to basically dumb down what you're talking about to the point where, like, if you were trying to explain to your 12-year-old cousin what you did for a living, so a recruiter could understand it. And I think this is like a really big problem, and I think it's most exemplified if you go from like IB to private equity recruiting, because almost all private equity jobs are behind headhunters or behind recruiters in finance, and they know literally nothing about private equity. They know nothing about the day-to-day of the job. They know nothing about what you're going to be doing. They just see, oh, you work in an investment bank. Okay, the better the investment bank, the better the candidate, and they just like don't care about anything else. And so when you go and you speak to a headhunter, because you have to go through a screen with them before you can get interviews at private equity firms or just jobs generally, when you speak to recruiters, you literally have to talk to them like they're 5 years old. Because if you actually talk about the job that you're knowledgeable about, it just straight over their head. Okay, on to the next guy. You didn't say that you know how to do 3-statement LBO modeling. Okay, you didn't explicitly say that, on to the next person. It's just like kind of a joke at this point. Like, recruiters are useless.
Okay, so I want to share this, and hopefully they're not watching this video, but I have friends who don't do anything with the degrees they work so hard to get. They just have it framed up on their wall, or it's sitting in the corner of their room because they can't find a job in the field they studied. I made videos before about how frustrating the hiring process has become. LinkedIn almost feels like a second full-time job for a lot of people. You spend hours filling out applications, networking, rewriting your resume, and hoping someone gives you a chance. candidates. Meanwhile, recruiters have become much more selective. It's no longer enough to say that I have a degree. You have to explain exactly what you can do, what experience you have, what problems you can solve, and why you're valuable to the company. That's the unfortunate reality of today's market. Don't get me wrong, a degree is still an accomplishment, but for a lot of graduates, it isn't opening doors the way they were told it would.
I genuinely understand why it's so hard for Gen Z to find jobs after college. Outside of the job market being cooked, think about how we interact with people versus how the past generations did. College normally was just a giant socializing fest. You would go to parties, you would randomly walk up to people to talk. So by the time you got to graduation, you weren't just walking out with a piece of paper. You were walking out with friends, connections, references. So that way, whenever you jumped into the job market, you weren't alone trying to just go off your degree. You had friends who got good jobs, so they also helped you get into good jobs. You had other friends who had parents who owned companies, so that was another way to get a job. You had professors that you were cool with because you consistently talked to them that were able to reference you to this or that. Versus modern day, we're not as incentivized to be sociable. One, it's very easy to be embarrassed, and there's so much discourse online about how people actually feel, and we're starting to see that a lot of people actually have a lot of nasty thoughts about people, so it makes us not want to take chance with random people in general. But on top of this, back in the day, let's say you were a lonely man or woman who couldn't find love or just make friends. You kind of just had to deal with it, and you had to just go back out there and keep trying until you figured it out, because there was nowhere else for you to go. Versus today, there's millions of people online. There's whole niches and communities of people who are just talking about how they're so lonely, how they can't find love, how they can't find friends. So now you have a place to comfort you in your loneliness. So there's no reason where you feel like you need to go and find people to change, because there's online communities dedicated to people just like you. You put on top of this, we don't like to go out as much because we don't like to drink. And let's be honest, half the places that you go, like the bars and the clubs and the parties, aren't really all that if you're not drunk. COVID, and we were on our phones most of the time when we were supposed to be socializing, so we're a little socially stunted as well. And shit is just like, bro, I'm just not trying to go viral on TikTok for being at a party and trying to walk up to somebody and then they cook me or something like that, and y'all be fake as fuck. It's like, of course people are gonna say those 4 years and all that money for just a piece of paper, because we're only walking out with a piece of paper. Past generations had a whole ecosystem and community once they were leaving college. So of course the job market is going to feel a lot harder when you're trying to do this thing alone. The other generations did not have to do it as alone as much as us. And obviously, like I said, the job market is cooked, duh. But I genuinely think us not socializing as much is playing a big role into it being hard for us to find jobs after college. Because as they say, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know.
After watching all these clips, I don't think there's one person or one thing to blame. I really believe the pandemic had a much bigger impact than we give it credit for. For a lot of us, normal conversations got replaced with Zoom calls, Instagram DMs, and scrolling for hours. Then we were expected to jump back into the real world like this and compete for jobs that rely heavily on networking and communication. I've also been paying attention to the conversations happening around social media. There are lawsuits and investigations literally happening today, arguing that some platforms intentionally use addictive design features, especially for younger users. And when opportunities often come from relationships, that's a real disadvantage. Maybe that's part of the reason why so many graduates feel stuck. It's not just the degree, it's not just the economy, it's a combination of everything happening at once. So I'm curious, do you think college is still the best path to success, or do young people need to start thinking differently about their future?